You work 60 hours a week. You show up early, you stay late, you say yes when others say no. You follow the rules. You give up your time, your energy, and your health for the job, for the team, for the promise of a better future. You're loyal. You're honest. You take pride in doing things the right way. And yet, somehow, you're stuck, watching someone else move ahead. Someone who cuts corners, who talks more than they work, who knows the right people, but doesn't have your skills. They rise faster, they live the life you thought you were earning, and you're left asking, what did I do wrong? But maybe that's the wrong question. Maybe the real question is, what lie have I been told? From a young age, you were taught, hard work leads to success. Try hard enough, you'll be rewarded. Keep grinding, and someone will notice, someone will repay you. But what if that idea is broken? What if it was never true? Nietzsche, a German philosopher who shattered comfortable illusions, once said, "Moral labor, the kind of work that's praised for being humble and obedient, is not noble. It's a spiritual trap. It's not meant to lift you up, it's meant to keep you down." Here's the hard truth. In a world where power decides outcomes, morality is often just a tool to control the powerless. You were told that being good is its own reward, that if you kept your head down and stayed loyal, life would be fair. But life isn't fair. Life is competitive. Life is political. And the system doesn't reward good people. It rewards people who hold power. Not power over what they make, but power over what they own. That's why a nurse who works 12-hour shifts earns less than a TikToker selling fake success online. Why a blue-collar worker who breaks their back retires with nothing, while someone who plays financial games walks away with millions. It's not your fault you believe the lie. That lie was built for you, to keep you obedient, to keep you working, to stop you from asking dangerous questions like, who benefits from my loyalty? Who profits from my exhaustion? Why does the system praise hard work and then reward something else? Nietzsche didn't say you should stop working. He didn't glorify laziness or selfishness. He criticized the belief that obedient suffering is virtuous, that being good means giving in. He called that thinking slave morality, a mindset not born from strength, but from fear. So if you feel stuck, despite doing everything right, you're not crazy. You're waking up. You're starting to see that the world isn't broken. It's working exactly the way it was designed to. The people who rise to the top aren't always the best, or the most selfless. They're the ones who understand power, how to find it, how to use it, and how to stop tying their worth to what the system thinks of them. So ask yourself, what if working harder isn't the answer? What if the belief in moral labor isn't your way out, but your prison? Because unless you question that lie, you'll keep grinding, while someone else keeps changing the rules. Just look at the contradiction right in front of you. If hard work leads to success, why are the hardest working people often the ones barely getting by? Think about it. The construction workers waking up before the sun, working until their bodies ache. The nurses skipping meals, missing holidays, running on empty. The delivery drivers, janitors, bus drivers, truckers, the people who keep cities alive. These are the ones living paycheck to paycheck, worrying about rent, unable to afford a sick day. Meanwhile, someone filming a get-rich-quick video in a rented Lamborghini makes more in a day than a nurse earns in a month. You've seen it. You've felt it. This isn't some glitch in the system. It is the system. Because while labor builds the world, labor doesn't control it. The people earning the most, CEOs, hedge fund managers, politicians, influencers, aren't sweating in the heat. They're not breaking their backs or skipping meals. They live in a different world, a world of leverage, of image, of control. They don't just work, they position themselves, they influence, they own. Let's be honest, we've built a world where effort isn't what gets rewarded. Power is. A world where owning money, connections, and attention pays more than creating anything real. And that's no accident. It's exactly how the game was built. They can replace you, outsource you, automate you, underpay you, but control? Control over money, over people, over ideas, that can be scaled. A nurse helps one patient at a time. An investor moves billions with one click. and the system rewards scale. Here's where the lie gets cruel. We're told that suffering is noble, that pain makes you honorable, that silent, humble workers are the backbone of society, and they are. But that doesn't change the truth. Morality doesn't pay your bills. Praise doesn't build wealth. Sacrifice doesn't create power. While regular people are told to be grateful, the elite are taught how to win, how to use law, strategy, and influence to gain more control. They're not trained to serve, they're trained to lead, to rewrite the rules. So ask yourself, if moral labor is so noble, why does it come with no power? Why are the most useful workers treated like they're disposable? Why does the system talk about the dignity of hard work? While handing the rewards to someone else, Nietzsche had an answer. The moral system was built by the powerful, not to free us, but to control us. It teaches obedience, not independence, sacrifice, not self-respect, submission, not strategy. And if you dare to question it, you're labeled selfish, dangerous, rebellious. The lie survives because it works for them. It keeps people grinding, hoping, sacrificing for a reward that never comes. Someday is the strongest chain ever made. So if hard work doesn't lead to power, what does? And more importantly, are you ready to unlearn what you were taught to believe? To understand why the world rewards manipulation over merit, image over effort, we need to go back to the roots of the morality we were raised on. Friedrich Nietzsche didn't see morality as truth. He saw it as strategy, a tool of control. He spoke of two types of morality: master morality and slave morality. Master morality is built on strength. It values power, ambition, creativity, the ability to shape your own path. It doesn't ask for permission. It doesn't wait for validation. It creates its own definition of good. And good in this world means freedom and growth. Slave morality, though, comes from weakness. It's born from people who can't win in a world ruled by strength. So they rewrite the rules. They say humility is better than confidence, that obedience is a virtue, that pain makes you pure. They make weakness sound holy, not because it is, but because it's the only way they can feel proud in a world they don't control. And here's the trap. Once enough people believe this, it becomes sacred, untouchable. No longer a survival tactic, but the truth. That's how moral labor became something to admire. We praise workers who never complain, who always say yes, who give more than they get. But we don't see who benefits from their silence. Nietzsche would say, you're not rewarded for your morality, you're controlled by it, you're promoted for being manageable, given just enough to keep you hopeful, but never enough to be free. Real rewards, ownership, power, freedom, they stay locked away. So why does the belief still survive? Why do so many people still think that pain makes them worthy, that sacrifice leads to success, that loyalty brings reward? Because the story is beautiful. It gives meaning to suffering. It helps people survive a broken system without challenging it. Slave morality doesn't last because it's right. It lasts because it's comfortable. And comfort is a powerful drug. Nietzsche didn't write to comfort people. He wrote to wake them up, to help them see the truth. That freedom begins when you stop waiting for life to be fair and start building your own path. So the real question isn't just why were we taught to suffer in silence, but who benefits when we do? Because if the system is so clearly rigged, if it rewards power instead of effort, why do so many good, hardworking people still believe in it? Why do millions still chase a promise that almost never comes true? The answer isn't just about money, it's about mindset. It starts early, long before your first job, before your first paycheck. From childhood, we're told that the world is fair, that good things happen to good people, that justice always wins. Cartoons, books, teachers, they all push the same message. Be kind, be honest, work hard, and one day you'll be rewarded. But there's a problem. Psychologists call this belief the just world fallacy. The idea that life is fair, that effort brings results, that good behavior always pays off. It's a comforting idea. It gives meaning to pain. It gives people hope. But it's not true. And in a world where power beats principle, believing in this lie isn't just wrong. It's dangerous. Because while you're staying late, fixing problems you didn't cause, someone else is learning how to play the game. While you're being polite, picking up extra shifts, they're building connections, studying leverage, figuring out how to win. You think you're being moral, they're being strategic, and in this world, strategy wins. That's why the engineer who keeps the system alive gets laid off, while the PR executive with the right friends gets promoted. That's why the nurse loses her weekend bonus, while the hospital spends more on branding. You were taught to follow rules. They were taught how to bend them. And here's the cruel part. The system doesn't just ignore your hard work. It uses your belief in fairness to keep you in line. Because the longer you wait to be recognized, the easier you are to control. People who believe justice is coming, they don't rebel, they don't resist. They wait. They wait for someday. But someday never comes. This isn't just about money. It's about insight. It's about realizing if you keep following the wrong map, you will never reach the right destination. The rules you were taught? They weren't designed to create strong, free people. They were designed to create obedient workers. Because the people who built the system, they knew exactly how it worked. They just needed you to keep playing the game. So if the world isn't fair, if doing the right thing doesn't lead to success, then what does? And more importantly, how do you survive without becoming heartless? How do you move forward? Without losing your soul, the answer is not to abandon morality, but to stop worshipping it, to stop treating sacrifice as strategy, to stop thinking good intentions are enough. In a world built on power, understanding power is part of being good. Once you open your eyes and accept that fairness is not a law but a story, you can finally begin to write your own. Not a story of blind sacrifice, but of conscious strength. Not of obedience, but of ownership. Not of waiting for the world to change, but of learning how to change your place in it. The lie they taught you about fairness. They told you to be good, to work hard, to wait your turn. They told you life is fair, that effort equals reward, that patience and obedience will one day pay off. They lied. Nietzsche didn't write to comfort you. He wrote to wake you up, to tear the blindfold off your eyes and force you to see the world as it is, not as they want you to believe it is, because once you stop waiting for life to be fair, you can finally start living it on your own terms. So the real question is not why we were told to suffer in silence. The real question is, who benefits when you do? The system is rigged. It rewards power, not virtue. Connections, not competence. Strategy, not sacrifice. And yet, millions still believe. They chase the same dead-end promises. They work overtime. They stay loyal. They play nice, waiting for justice that never arrives. Why? Because from the moment you could walk, they fed you a story. Cartoons, school lessons, fairy tales. Be honest, be kind, do the right thing, and the world will reward you. Psychologists call it the just world fallacy, the comforting lie that the world is fair, that good people get good outcomes, that the universe is watching and justice will prevail. It gives hope, it soothes pain, but it's not true. And in a world built on leverage, that belief is not just false, it's dangerous. Because while you're cleaning up someone else's mess, someone else is learning how to bend the rules. While you're picking up extra shifts, they're building networks, mastering influence, playing the game. You think you're being moral, they're being strategic. And in this world, strategy wins. That's why the nurse loses her bonus, while the hospital buys a billboard. That's why the quiet engineer is laid off, while the loud executive gets promoted. You were taught to follow the rules. They were taught how to write them. And here's the cruel twist. Your belief in fairness isn't just wrong. It's the very thing that keeps you in place, because the longer you wait to be rewarded, the easier you are to control. People who believe in justice don't rebel. They wait for fairness, for recognition, for someday. But someday never comes. This isn't just about income, it's about insight. If you keep following the wrong map, you'll never reach the right destination. The rules weren't made to make you free, they were made to make you obedient. The people who designed the system knew exactly what they were doing. They just needed you to keep playing. So, if the world isn't fair, if being good doesn't lead to success, what does? And how do you survive without becoming ruthless? You don't throw away your morals, you redefine what strength looks like. That's where most people fail when they wake up. They swing to the other extreme. They think the only way to win is to become cold, heartless, cruel. But Nietzsche didn't preach cruelty. He didn't tell you to destroy morality. He told you to transcend it. To stop confusing submission with virtue, to stop mistaking silence for strength, to overcome the morality of the weak and replace it with the morality of the sovereign. He called that person the UberMench, the overman, not a tyrant, not a villain, but a creator of values. Someone who doesn't beg for recognition, someone who defines their own worth. The UberMensch doesn't wait to be promoted. He creates impact. He doesn't need the system. He learns to use it or walk away from it. He doesn't ask for permission. He builds. Look around. You've seen them. The entrepreneur who left the safe job to chase a vision. The creator who stopped begging for likes and started building a movement. The investor who turned rejection into innovation. What separates them isn't luck, it's mindset. They stopped asking, "When will they see my worth?" and started asking, "Why am I giving them that power in the first place?" That shift, from waiting to creating, from submitting to owning, that's the escape hatch. That's the real awakening. But here's the price. To escape the cage, you have to let go of your addiction to being seen as good. You have to disappoint the people who benefit from your silence. You have to walk alone for a while. You have to choose authorship over approval. That's not selfish. That's sovereignty. So ask yourself, what would happen if you stopped waiting to be rewarded and started rewarding yourself? What would it look like to stop asking for a seat at the table and start building your own? You don't have to become ruthless, but you do have to become responsible for your own power, because the system won't save you. The only path forward is to stop serving it and start writing something greater. So what does action look like after the awakening? After you've seen the lie, after you've stopped chasing fairness, after you've chosen not to abandon morality, but to reclaim it, it looks like strategic kindness, not obedience, not passivity, but strength with purpose. Because kindness without boundaries isn't virtue, it's surrender. Being good doesn't mean saying yes to everyone. It means knowing when to say yes and when to walk away. Not every job deserves your loyalty. Not every leader deserves your trust. Not every opportunity deserves your time. Power isn't something you take, it's something you claim. Power to say no, power to walk away. Power to build something where your energy fuels your mission, not someone else's machine. So stop asking who will choose you, choose yourself. Stop waiting for the system to reward you. Reward yourself with the life you were meant to build. Because you don't need to be cruel to be powerful, you just need to stop being compliant and start being conscious. They told you, if you're good, if you work hard, if you stay quiet, one day you'll be rewarded. But one day comes and nothing happens. You realize the reward system was never built for you. It was built to keep you in line. So what do you do now when you finally see the lie? You don't throw away your morals, you redefine strength. Most people, when they wake up, swing too far. They think the only escape from being used is becoming ruthless. But Nietzsche never preached cruelty. He wasn't asking you to become a monster. He was asking you to stop confusing submission with virtue. His answer wasn't to destroy morality, it was to overcome the morality of weakness. To become someone who doesn't follow rules, someone who writes them, who doesn't need permission to live with purpose, someone who builds instead of begs. Nietzsche called this person the Ubermensch, the overman, not a tyrant, a creator, a person who doesn't wait to be chosen, but chooses themselves. They don't sit in silence hoping to be seen. They define their value. They don't wait to be promoted. They build impact on their own terms. They understand the system, but they're not enslaved by it. They know when to play the game and when to flip the board. Power is not evil. Powerlessness is. And power isn't about controlling others. It's about controlling your direction, your destiny. You've seen people like this. The creator who stopped asking for permission. The investor who turned rejection into innovation. The entrepreneur who walked away from security to build something real. What separates them isn't luck, it's mindset. They stopped asking, "When will they see my worth?" and started asking, "Why did I give them that power in the first place?" That shift, from waiting to creating, that's the path Nietzsche pointed to. But here's the truth most people avoid. If you want to escape the quaj, you have to let go of your addiction to being seen as good. You have to be willing to disappoint people, especially the ones who benefit from your silence. You might have to stand alone while you build something real. That takes more than confidence. It takes courage, because real strength isn't about dominance, it's about authorship. Writing a life that reflects your truth, not the expectations of a system built to keep you docile. This isn't about becoming selfish, it's about becoming sovereign. So ask yourself, what if you stopped waiting to be rewarded and started rewarding yourself? What if you stopped begging for a seat at the table and built your own? You don't need to become heartless, but you do need to become powerful, because once you see that the system won't save you, there's only one move left. Stop serving it and start building something better. What does that look like? It looks like strategic kindness, not fake, not manipulative, but conscious. It means knowing when to help and when to walk away. It means setting boundaries, saying no, and meaning it. It means you don't serve people just to be liked, you serve your values and protect your vision. Because not every job deserves your loyalty, not every leader deserves your trust, not every opportunity deserves your time. Power isn't something you take, it's something you claim. The power to leave, to negotiate, to build, to say, "I won't do this anymore." That's not betrayal, that's maturity. If you don't learn how the power game works, you'll always be a pawn in it. But if you do, you don't have to lose your soul in the process. Power is not a trophy, it's a tool. Use it well. Let your principles guide the direction, but let strategy carry your decisions, because the future doesn't belong to the obedient. It belongs to the clear, the conscious, the ones who fuse principle with power, empathy with edge, not the ones waiting for change, the ones creating it. If you were told that hard work is enough, that loyalty will be rewarded, that playing nice guarantees success, it's time to wake up. Hard work matters. But hard work without strategy is slavery. The real man doesn't just labor, he learns. He studies the system, and when the rules no longer serve him, he writes new ones. That's the difference between being a cog and becoming the architect. So if you're done waiting, done sacrificing with no return, done with the illusion that being good is enough, then this is where your path begins. Subscribe, because here we don't just explain the world, we give you the tools to reshape your place in it, one idea at a time.